Alright, my dear product managers, my darlings, let's talk about how you can be more productive with AI. The job of the product manager changed in the last year. The job that used to take weeks, researching, collecting requirements, drafting user stories, creating wireframes, can now take days. And instead of the document that people have to read now, you can show them something they can click. What am I talking about? I'm talking about building prototypes and improving your workflow as a product manager with Claude Code. Over the past year, I've helped product and software teams to upskill their product managers with AI. So I wanted to share that knowledge with you. We will talk about how to research a feature with a team of agents, turn that into user stories, build a prototype, deploy that, and share it with the team for feedback. And then update this prototype based on the feedback call using call transcriptions. And doing all of that is about a day of work. I also want to talk about how working in Claude Code can 10x the productivity by having all of the context in one place. Okay, so think about how a feature is built today. You start to do some research, you create consulants pages, try to write down user stories, collect some feedback, then you pass it over to the development team and the design team to read through it, ask you questions, and then, based on that, you create some design tasks and start estimating the feature. Of course, everybody has a bit of a different process, but a rough outline is probably the same. And once you hand off the doc and the task to designers, you wait a week, you wait 2 weeks, and the design comes back. Only then you can try to estimate properly the functionality, and only after that you can start building. And through that whole process, nobody can actually feel the product. They can only read your words, try to imagine it, and it's always hard, and people are lazy to read. So here's a new way at a high level. Instead of all of that, product manager builds a clickable prototype in about a day, shares it with everybody, and can get immediate feedback and feel for the product. You point Claude Code at the requirements, you build a prototype, you then deploy it with one command, and you've got the link that you can share with everybody in Slack or anywhere else, or present on a call to collect feedback and then iterate on that. Now let me show you the exact sequence step by step. There are 4 steps and I'll walk you through each one. But note that this exact sequence assumes that you're starting a feature from scratch, so I'm covering the whole journey. So if you're somewhere in the middle, for example, you already have requirements or you already have designs, you can also use the same process. Step 1, researching a feature. Researching a feature with Claude Code is much more efficient versus regular AI because, first of all, it can operate on your computer and it can save all of the research files, edit them, review them again in any session, instead of having a specific chat where this document is stored and you have to then send this to a different chat when you start a new chat. Then it also has an ability to connect to all of your tools and create prototypes at the same time. Instead of doing all of the research by yourself, many of us already are using AI, but using a team of agents and asking Claude Code to spawn off a team of agents, which only is possible for now in Claude Code and not in regular Claude or Claude Cowork, you can make each agent research in detail a specific feature. They can research all of the competitors in details, all of the sub features in details. You can go for breadth, horizontal, vertical, whatever it is, and each of the agents will report back with a file of the research that it's done, and it will be stored and you can reuse it later. So instead of giving a task of research to one agent, which will do a very high level research, you can make it use a bunch of sub-agents to get a more detailed research for yourself. Step 2, the user stories. Everybody hates writing user stories. Of course, everybody is using AI at this point for this, but the difference between using regular Claude and Claude Code is that Claude Code can operate within a folder on your computer, edit all of these user stories, change them, update them at any point in time. And you're not going to have to open a new chat, send in the user stories again, ask them to update them, copy the tags, go somewhere else. It's a much more efficient system. Step 3 is to take Claude Code and ask it to build a prototype based on these user stories. The amazing thing is it will build this prototype, you can review it, click it, give it feedback, it will update the prototype. Let's say you don't like a button, you don't like a specific page, or you would like to restructure a table. It can do all of that. And once you're done with all of the feedback and updates to the prototype, you can ask Claude Code to update the user stories that you were working on initially. So thus, It immediately updates the user stories and you can use them for your tasks in Jira or Linear. Next step is to deploy it so that people can open it. There are two ways to do it. One is a new one, which is called Claude Code Artifacts. You can try it out. It's a way for Claude to deploy something using a link and host it on Claude domain, and thus you can share it right away. Another way to do it is through Vercel. You can install Vercel CLI for the terminal, log into it, and now every time you want to deploy anything, you can just say Claude Code, please deploy it through Vercel, and it will go ahead and deploy it, and you've got your link ready to share. And another power up you can do is you have access to Figma. You can connect Claude Code through an MCP to Figma to get all of your design files to make the prototype in your design style. And if you don't have it, you can also do the following. You can ask Claude Code to go to the web page of your platform and get all of the design systems from the HTML code, save it, and build a prototype based on that. That's an easy way to do it as well. Step 4 is to share a link with your team, and if you want to present it on a call, you can transcribe the call with something like Granola, and thus when you're presenting the prototype and you're collecting feedback from your peers, from your boss, or from anybody else, you can then ask Claude Code, which can connect to your Granola, to get the transcript of the call, summarize all of the things that we suggested to update, pick which ones you want to update, ask it to update the prototype, redeploy it, and it's done in 10 minutes. Instead of you having to manually explain to AI the things that you want to change and how, the transcript helps. And also you can ask Claude Code to immediately update all of the user stories or Confluence pages that you have stored as markdown files. And after it's updated those, again, you can ask it to update the Jira or Linear tickets through an MCP connection. So you see, you're eliminating a lot of manual work of copy, pasting, dragging files from a chat to a folder, to a specific website like Jira. You can just ask Claude Code to do everything for you. And when it has context of all of these things, it can do it pretty fast. And real quick, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe as I'll be making more of these videos in the future. Now, how do you get Claude Code and how do you install it? It's pretty simple. You send in one command in the terminal, then log in into Claude Code. After that, what I would suggest is install VS Code. Now, VS Code is a development IDE, but for our purposes, we will use it just as a way to view different files and folders. For Claude Code specifically, there's an extension that you can use. Here it is. And finally, talking about context management. I've already kind of teased all of this to you during the video, but having an ability for Claude to work on your computer, to connect to all of your tools so that it has the context that you have, to have all of the files that you're working on in one place with the prototype allows you as a product manager to simply work with Claude Code in this folder and do everything there. It can find all of the context, all of the relevant issues. And another amazing life hack is that you can ask your team for read-only access to the GitHub repository of the code itself. You can pull it locally in this folder, and whenever you have any questions about how the specific search bar works, does it do ID search or only name search, you can ask Claude Code to investigate it, because Claude Code is like a senior engineer. And once it's done the investigation, you can ask it, say, hey, it doesn't have the ID search, so can you create for me a user story that will outline the development and update of this search bar? It will draft out the file, you will review it, you will say, okay, now add this task to Jira and assign it to this specific person. Done. So instead of you trying to work with a developer to try to figure out how this search works, drafting out your own user story, then manually creating it and waiting, you can just ask Claude to do it, and most of the work will be done by it. You will just have to hop in here and there to review things. So let's step back and look at everything we've discussed so far. You can do a better search with a team of agents. You can create better user stories or Confluence pages and store all of them locally so that Claude Code has context of all of it. You can create a prototype and deploy it in one click. Then you can collect feedback from your team and give access to Claude to the transcripts of these calls so that it can update the prototype, update the user stories, and then add those user stories to Jira or Linear immediately. The same work that used to take a week or two can be done in a day or two. That's why I think this kind of workflow can 10x your productivity as a product manager. But now that a lot of manual work is eliminated, the ability to understand what to build is much more important than it used to be before. And you need to start doing this now, because it's not about whether the product managers will be replaced by AI. It's about the product managers who understand how to use AI efficiently will be replacing product managers who don't. So I suggest trying out this setup. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below in the comment section. And if you have any other AI product manager tips, also send them below. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.